Hello, you're very welcome to the Taking Your Therapy Practice Online Masterclass with myself, Susan Wallace. Now, on this masterclass, together we're going to do three things. First of all, I'm going to show you what can go wrong when you are working online. And number two, I'm going to show you how to fix it. And then if you stay until the very end, I'll show you how my online sessions work. I will talk you and take you through all of the automation and everything that I do to allow my clients to book themselves in online. Basically, the only thing I have to do now is I have to show up and to deliver the coaching and therapy that they have paid for. So let's get started. First of all, I want you to know that there will be a lot of repetition in this masterclass. Now, do not be put off by this fact. This is for our own good. And the reason for that is very simple. Coca-Cola has spent $30 billion trying to get one simple message into the minds of every single consumer on the planet. And do you know what that message is? Because that's a lot of repetition, and that is a lot of advertising, and that's a lot of marketing to get just one message into our minds. And that message is, it's the real thing. So I'm going to repeat myself quite a bit during parts 1 and 2. That is around what can go wrong, and secondly, how to fix it. Okay, let's get started. The first thing I want to do today is to define some terms. So in-person therapy refers to clients who you meet physically in a place such as your therapy rooms or clinic. Online therapy refers to clients who you work with online. And online includes communication by telephone, video, email, text, and instant messaging such as Facebook, Messenger, Instagram, direct messages, and Snapchat, etc. Now, there are many types of online therapy, from voice and video sessions to text and instant messages and email. However, this course focuses specifically on telephone and video work. I'm not going to cover instant text and instant messages and email. And there's a really good reason for that. You see, working face-to-face with clients via video or voice online is better suited for many psychotherapy clients and for delivering hypnotherapy and mind coaching. And the reason for this is because it presents fewer potential pitfalls and challenges. Let's go through some of them. First of all, video sessions with a new client means that you can confirm the age and identity of your client. Number 2, you can ask your client to present some form of photographic ID if you're unsure of their age, or if you are uncertain they are who they claim to be. And thirdly, we can minimize the negative effects of disinhibition. Now, disinhibition is where people act differently because they can't be identified online. So case scenarios would be you don't know me, or you can't see me, or, you and me, hey, we're equals, or it's just a game, or it's all in my head, or, I don't have to put up with this stuff, I can ignore you, or I can leave at any time. Number 4, it's easier to build rapport with your clients and to use non-verbal cues to improve your own communication and to read your clients' responses. That's when you are working face-to-face with your clients online with video. Now, it's also, number 5, easier for you, the therapist, to establish and maintain ground rules and boundaries. Number 6, it's easier to identify and to manage potential risks when you can visually see the person and hear them speak in real-time responses to your questions, suggestions, or your interventions. Number 7, it's easier to control the session, to read responses during eyes closed work, and it's easier to obtain feedback during the session when you can hear and see your client. And number 8, last but not least, the perception from clients is often that the video sessions online offer more value for money, as the sessions are formal. They can see that you're in your therapy space, that you have a structure to the session, and you also have a flow. As promised, at the end of this masterclass, I'm going to show you exactly how my system flows and the journey I take my clients on so that they can securely book their online coaching and therapy with me. I'll show you my online calendar. I'll show you my privacy policy and how I get informed consent. I'll show you how I collect personal and sensitive data online. And I'll also introduce you to my fully encrypted video provider. I'll show you my online waiting room, and I'll also share with you my online private therapy room. But first of all, let's take a look at the characteristics of a great online therapist. First of all, you need patience. You need the ability to develop an appropriate pace and to take things one step at a time. Now, online therapy, just like in-person therapy, it cannot be rushed. You won't do as much in an online session as you might do face-to-face. Now, this isn't a bad thing. Remember, one thing done really well is superior to doing a lot of things that might overwhelm the client and overload their subconscious mind. In hypnotherapy, we have the 7 plus and minus 1 rule. Understanding. Knowing how privacy and confidentiality can be breached online and the need to stay up to date with changes in technology is another characteristic of a great online therapist. And you also need tolerance. You need tolerance for the unexpected. Technology breaks. Connections get lost. Sessions get interrupted. Clients are disturbed in the middle of a session. You also need technical ability. You need to be able to store forms securely, and you need to know how to take care of clients' personal and sensitive data. You also need therapeutic ability, the ability to assess clients' suitability for online work, and you must also be able to identify potential risks, potential breaches of privacy and confidentiality, a breach of security online, disinhibition and the effects of it, and also what to do in the event that the connection is dropped. You also need to be able to direct clients to online resources or to offer online resources within the session. And lastly, you also need to be able to communicate clearly with clients during eyes closed work. Okay, assessing the suitability of clients for online work. Well, first of all, I'd like to point out to you that online coaching and therapy is a great adjunct to in-person therapy. And when you're starting out, online therapy works best when you are already working face-to-face with existing clients and you would like to support them online. Now, it's always preferable to meet with your client in person, that is face-to-face, for the initial consultation and have all paperwork and consent forms completed in your physical therapy centre. Now, this will help avoid any data breaches. It will also help reduce any negative effects of disinhibition. I would like to point out that extreme caution is required if you are working with victims of domestic, sexual or physical abuse, where there is a strong possibility that communication with your client might be seen by another party. And please refer to your association or school for guidance regarding working with vulnerable clients online. And this course will not equip you to work with those vulnerable clients online. And the next thing that I'd like to discuss with you today is your professional responsibility. Now, all your communications with your clients are subject to Gdpr law, and that doesn't matter whether it's in person or online. Now, ignorance of the law is not an excuse. It is the therapist's responsibility to safeguard the security and confidentiality of clients and to stay informed of changes in the law. Now, you must do more than inform them that online exchanges may not be secure. You must secure those online exchanges. Now, email is not a secure form of exchange unless you and your clients have an encrypted email system. Now, VoIP, that's Voice over Internet Protocol, is not considered a secure form of exchange. Now, some apps do claim end-to-end encryption. However, unless you have a business associates agreement with them, there are no guarantees. Remember, do not offer services that are outside of the scope and limitations of your training. Know also that technology is constantly changing and platforms that are considered secure can become insecure or experience breaches today. Likewise, guidelines laid down by the associations you are a member of are constantly changing, and it's your responsibility to keep abreast of developments in your sector and to conform to those developments. The next thing I'd like to discuss concerns working locally or internationally. Now, it's important that you know that you must obey the law of the country where you practice and also the law of where your clients are based too. Now, each country has its own law that can change overnight, and in places like the USA, there is regional and national legislation. And that regional legislation might in fact prohibit you from working with clients in that region of the United States. A recent international example is cited by the UKCP, and it involved a young man in Zimbabwe seeking online therapy from a UK-based therapist. He recently realised he was gay and for that reason wanted a therapist from abroad. Now, Zimbabwean law prohibits homosexual activity. And the questions to ask include: could working with this man cause more harm than good? How secure is the internet in Zimbabwe? Is it likely that his internet might be under surveillance? Or could keywords such as gay or homosexual be flagged? How might intercepted communications affect him or his family in Zimbabwe? So best practice is to work with local clients in your own country or jurisdictions that are well understood by you. Further best practice includes to link up with professional associations within that area or country so that you can understand what you can and cannot do. For example, if you're a hypnotherapist, then the National Hypnotherapy Association of that country will be able to inform you how to approach potential clients in that region. Okay, let's take a look at leaving voice or text messages for your clients. Consideration should be given to what might happen if you call someone and they're not there and you leave a message. What guarantee is there that someone else won't see it, or what happens if someone else answers the phone? Remember at all times to use neutral language. Avoid leaving messages that make your role or relationship obvious to any third party. Avoid leaving messages that mention the reason for your call. So what is best practice? Well, discuss calling and messaging your client when you are taking a booking. For example, you might say, I have put your appointment in my online calendar and you will receive email appointment reminders. Are you okay with this? You might also want to say, I also send a text message 10 minutes before we are due to meet in my online therapy room. This message will give you the link to my online waiting room. You could also discuss it when you're finishing the first session. You might say, if I need to get in touch with you, is it okay to call you? Establish the times they can expect to hear from you. Now, if someone else picks up, do not explain the reason for your call. Simply ask, what's the best time to reach them? Or leave a first name only and do not leave your phone number. Now, regarding email, Unless you are using an encrypted email service and your client is also doing the same, then email is not a secure way to communicate private and confidential information. When using email, consider that someone else might see the email and use an email address that does not reveal your professional identity. No one will want to see an email from Susan at sexaddictionsolutions.com. Use neutral language in the subject line. Do not describe the problem. Simply call it an appointment or session or meeting. So best practice is to avoid using email except to send automated appointment reminders unless your client has given you express permission to do so. But even if they have given you express permission to do so, there is the chance that your client might reply to your emails with highly personal information, and that might increase the risk of a security breach. So the best practice is to avoid using email except to send your automated appointment reminders. Okay, let's take a look at obtaining consent to work online. Avoid as much as possible any form of communication online that, number 1, reveals your client's identity. Number 2, reveals the nature of your relationship. Number 3, reveals the nature of their problem. Number 4, that reveals your identity. And number 5, that might result in a breach of sensitive data. If there is a breach of sensitive data, you must inform your client immediately, and you must do everything to rectify it and to report it to your client. You must also notify your insurance company of the breach and get advice on how best to handle it. Number 6, do not gather or hold onto any sensitive data that you do not need to collect. So best practice. Get consent in person during an in-person session at your physical therapy centre. If you must collect consent online, do not collect the name, address, phone numbers, date of birth or email address on the same form that collects sensitive data such as medical history. Now, don't forget, I'm going to show you exactly how I do all of this, but it would be highly irresponsible for me to show you how to do this if I had not informed you of what could go wrong and how to fix it first. Okay, so let's look at best practice for obtaining consent to work online. Use services that are Hipaa compliant. Now, Hipaa stands for the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, and that is the USA equivalent of Gdpr in Ireland, and it is the equivalent of the Data Protection Act in the UK. Now, if you are working in the UK, it's important to know that many UK therapists also need to register with the ICO, that's the Information Commissioner's Office. So please refer to your UK association if you are based in the UK. Now, it's really important that the Hipaa compliance services also offer you what's called a Business Associates Agreement. A BAA will actually protect your legitimate interests online. Now, it's very unfortunate, but finding services that are Hipaa compliant and that also offer the Business Associates Agreement can get extremely costly very fast. So before I introduce you to my cost-effective and fully automated system, let's take a moment or two to examine how to avoid a GDPR data breach. Now, pseudo-nominalization is key. So basically, set up some process where forms that collect sensitive data online are completely anonymized. Do not keep sensitive data about your client with their personal details, such as their name, address, email, or telephone number. If you are using an online service that stores information, download completed forms regularly and delete them from cloud storage. That is, unless you have a service that offers Hipaa encryption and you have a business associates agreement with them. Don't ask for any personal or sensitive data that you don't need to complete your contractual and lawful obligations. Don't keep data any longer than you need to lawfully or contractually hold onto it. Ask yourself, if I had to explain why I was holding this data, what would I say? Remember, you must keep records for 7 years. The statute of limitations is 6 years for a client to take legal action against you. And don't send client information to any third parties that you haven't declared in your policies document. This includes your accountant, who might have access to your client receipts. Okay, and we have just a few more do's and don'ts to go through before I show you my online coaching and therapy system. So do keep all data, both personal and sensitive data, in secure storage. Do not keep clients' contact details and client session notes in the same file. Do delete data for which you have no contractual or lawful reason to hold. Do not keep client credit or debit card details on file. Do encrypt data where it is sensible and possible to do so. Do not video sessions. Do not film your clients coming into or leaving your premises. If clients make a subject access data request within their Gdpr rights, you must not disclose any video of any other clients in your waiting room or any other clients entering or leaving your premises. You must not share their data with anyone but them. Do make sure you have a privacy policy on your website or host it somewhere your clients can read it before they attend their sessions. Make sure you have an informed consent statement so your clients can acknowledge they have read it before therapy starts. Okay, so that's the end of this part of the masterclass. The only thing that's left is for me to show you how my online sessions work. So let's get started. My client is taken to my online calendar. They can book my coaching and online therapy session for €70. Now, whilst I do have the option to take a fee at the time of booking, I don't like to do that. Instead, I prefer to take a fee after the session once I know that they're satisfied and that I've delivered on their expectations. So the first step is for them to choose the date that they want to see me and to pick the time. They will then press continue. They'll fill out their details. They will add their phone number. They will add their email. And they will complete the appointment. This opens up an appointment confirmation. It clearly states the date and the time. And at the same time, you've heard a ping. That ping is the email being sent to my client and also to myself to alert me to the fact that someone has signed up for a coaching and online therapy session. You'll see here that it says, please check your email for an important email from me. It outlines what happens next, and I'm looking forward to working with you. My client can add this to their Google Calendar, their iCal, or Outlook. So let's take a look at the email that they received. This is the first of 2 email confirmations that my clients receive from me. You can see here that it says important information for my client, Mary Kelly. It gives the details of what and when, and then the text is as follows. Thanks for booking an appointment with me. To join me in my online private therapy room, you'll need a good internet connection, and headphones are great if you have them. If you don't have a good connection, don't worry, we can always continue by phone. To get started, will you please take a moment to fill out the client form? This is an essential part of the booking process. It won't take more than 2 minutes. You can see there's a link here to the form, but before we get to that, also, please don't worry about technology. I'll send you the link to my online private therapy room and you'll be able to join me with just 1 click. I'm really looking forward to our appointment. Kind regards, and I have signed it off. I also tell my client to please read my privacy policy before filling out the form. So when they click here, that opens up my privacy policy for my clients. But let's take a look at what happens when they click here. My clients are taken to this secure online form. My client fills in their details, their name, date of birth, their email address, their best contact number, their postal address, their air code, and they also provide me with their GP's name and contact telephone number. They are required to read my policies. My policies are the responsibility around confidential information. This highlights that I take all precautions to ensure that our online communications remain private and confidential. I explain that likewise you are responsible for understanding the potential risks of confidentiality being breached by activities on your device or by people around you. I will not be liable for the release of confidential information relating to you or arising from you not maintaining the privacy of your online communications with me. We then address technical failures. If for any reason we are disconnected during a video call meeting, I will try to reconnect within 10 minutes. If reconnection is not possible, I'll phone you to schedule a new session time. I then also address, consider setting an alarm. Do you need to set an alarm for the end of the session in case our connection is lost and you drift into sleep during any eyes closed work? I tell them that I do not record any sessions online. Please ask my permission before recording any part of the session or posting it online. I describe the legal exceptions to confidentiality. This is the informed consent. I understand that the information disclosed during our therapy sessions is confidential. However, there are legal exceptions, both mandatory and permissible, including threats of harm to self or others or subject to a court-ordered disclosure. I describe my privacy policy. This privacy policy lets you know how your personal information is being collected, stored and shared, and this is in line with EU General Data Protection Regulations. You can read my privacy policy online before submitting this document. Now, if they haven't already read it, if they click here, it will open it in another tab. They can then click back to the form, and they can then give their consent by signing and submitting this form. I agree to participate in online hypnotherapy and mind coaching. They're my disciplines. I have read, understood, and comply with the policies in this document. They can then put their digital signature here, and they click submit. This opens up a thank you page. Thank you, Mary Kelly. Your form has been received. If we are working together online, I will send you a text message 10 minutes before our session is due to start. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you in person. Kind regards, Susan Wallace. Now, you probably heard the ping while I was speaking there, so I've gone to my inbox and I can see that my new client, Mary Kelly, has submitted their therapy consent form. It gives me a snapshot of the information that they've submitted, and if I want to view the actual digital signature, well then I can view all of my submissions online. So if you think this is too much work, I want to reassure you that it isn't, because it only takes about 2 hours to set it all up. But what's so great about it is this: once is enough. I don't want to send reminders to my clients for the rest of my working life. I want all this amazing technology to go and do it for me. Now, it was Milton Erickson, the grandfather of the permissive and conversational style of hypnosis, who said that once is enough. We only need to experience something once for it to have a major impact on our lives. And that could be the experience of getting a fright or a shock and developing a phobia. Or that could be the positive experience of learning how to use technology and making it work for you. So you only have to set this system up once and then it's automated. This means I can be anywhere, doing anything, and I can still get bookings for sessions online. Okay, let's take a deep breath and look at just how much we've covered so far. Well, your clients book online coaching and therapy with you via your online calendar. Your clients fill in the client record form, which also contains your privacy policy and informed consent and any other legal considerations. An automated email with important information is sent to them the moment that they book that appointment. A second automated email reminder is sent 1 hour before the session. So the next thing then that we have to do is to send a text reminder 10, maybe 15 minutes before their session is due to start. And that text reminder is also going to collect some sensitive data on a form for us. So let's take a look at how that works. 15 minutes before appointment is due to start, I log on to my private therapy room and then I send my client a message via text or WhatsApp. And this message goes something like this. Hello Margaret, I'm looking forward to starting our meeting at 2:15 p.m. today in my private online therapy room. Before we start, I have to ask you to tick some answers on my waiting room form. This information is anonymous, so please choose a nickname. As soon as you submit the form, it will take you straight to my private online therapy room. See you in a few minutes. So let's take a look at what happens when my client clicks on the form. This form here opens up and it says, "Welcome to my virtual waiting room. Please take a few moments to fill out this form. It will help me understand how other factors in your life might impact upon the work we will do together. The answers on this form are kept anonymous and confidential and are encrypted." I then ask my client to choose a nickname for this form. I clearly state, please do not enter any name that links this form to your personal identity. And it then asks a series of questions that are necessary for me to be able to provide the best service for my clients. Now, your school or your association will also have recommendations as to what those questions should be, and they are probably dependent on the kind of work that you do online. Not all of them are essential, but some of them absolutely are, such as the mood checklist and the symptom checklist. I then ask my client to press the submit button to join me by video in my private online therapy room. Clicking on the submit button will instantly and automatically take my client to my private online therapy room. Now, this online therapy room is provided to me by a service called Doxy. It is Hipaa compliant and I've signed a business associates agreement with Doxy. Now, that ping that you heard is an alert from my email system that is telling me that there is someone waiting for me in my waiting room. And I can check and see that the person has chosen a nickname here called Lily Rose. This pseudo-nominization is protecting the identity of my client while they provide me with very sensitive information. I will go through this form very quickly and see if there's anything on this form that requires my attention or there's something that I need to address over the course of our private online session together. While I'm doing that, my client is putting their first name into the system and they're checking into my waiting room. They'll see that I'm available. They'll see over here that Miss Wallace, that's me, is available and that our call will start soon. There's also a message here from me that says, "Welcome, I will start the video call in a moment." If they wish, they can do a pre-call test here to make sure that they're able to use this very simple technology. What's so great about Doxy is that they don't have to download anything. It really is just one click to join me in my online therapy room. And so my client is in my waiting room, and you can see that she's over here and that she's waiting. You can see that I have my video here. So I'm going to start the call with Mary. And we have Mary here, or we have Finola, who's playing the role of Mary, and we're about ready to start our therapy session together. I can clearly see Mary and she can communicate back to me, which means I'm able to pick up on all those subtle non-verbal cues, and I can make sure that I give Mary the best possible experience online. So we have covered really quite a lot in this masterclass today, and there's still a couple of things that I'd like to draw your attention to. Now that I've started my online coaching and therapy session with my new client, I'll do some meet and greet before we dive deep into the coaching and therapy. So here's some questions for you to consider. Can you preserve the confidentiality and privacy of your client? Are they in a place where they won't be overheard or they won't be seen? This might be very important for your client. Have you checked their nickname? Have you gone through that sensitive data form? Is there anything you need to speak to your client about that came up on that form? Are you able to contact them if the connection breaks? You need to also ask your client, what have they planned for when the session is over? Do they need to set an alarm in case the connection is broken? So everything that we've done here today is based on best practice. It's designed to give your clients a fantastic user experience when they decide to sign up for your online coaching or therapy. Okay, so we are nearly done. And today I've shared with you the system I use to automate all of my online coaching and therapy bookings. Now, if you want to stop working hard and instead work smart, then I'm here to help. I would like to invite you to join me for a short online course where you can look over my shoulder while we set up your automated system. Now, it's not difficult to do on your own, because I've shown you every single part of the system here today. But it's a lot easier and it's a lot more fun when you have someone to help and support you. Now, I will create 4 over-my-shoulder videos for you. It will take you about 2 hours for you to set your own system up and to automate it. But I'm offering you more than that. You can also book a clarity call with me so that I can fix anything that isn't working for you. All I ask is that you give it your best effort. I won't do the work for you. But remember, when it's done, you can be anywhere, doing anything, and you too can still get bookings for sessions online. Now, the cost of this short online course is €140. That's the price I charge for 2 €70 40-minute online coaching and therapy sessions. The course is run over 4 weeks, so it's a very relaxed and easy-paced course. To book your place, click on the link below this masterclass and reserve your place through PayPal. This is Susan Wallace saying thank you so much for your time and leadership today, and I look forward to speaking with you soon.